Hi, I hope everybody's having a good Thanksgiving break. My name is Jonathan Austin, and I decided to do my disaster analysis on Hurricane Harvey. Hurricane Harvey made landfall in coastal Texas in August of 2017 as a Category 4 hurricane. It produced the largest rainfall in U.S. history. 27 trillion gallons of rain fell over a period of 5 days. This caused flooding over a large geographic area, with Houston being significantly impacted. Now, this storm was unique in that it stayed in one area for such a long time, which completely saturated the soils with water. There are numerous challenges in responding to Hurricane Harvey. The disaster covered a large geographic area. This made damage assessment very challenging. It also displaced a large number of people, which created huge shelter needs. Public risk perception was another challenge in response. Public risk perception differs from expert risk perception in that when hazards are very frequent or very rare, the public often becomes complacent and fails to adequately prepare for such hazards. Hazard fatigue was another challenge. The storm stayed in one area for 5 days, and within those 5 days, people were getting bombarded with warning and alerts on their phones, and eventually fatigue set in. We also know that risk is not equally distributed in the community. Lower income people and people of color disproportionately carry the risk. They often lack social networks that allow for quick recovery, and they oftentimes need more help. Identifying at-risk populations is also a challenge. As good as a model is, there's always going to be some level of uncertainty. Actual data is always going to differ from modeling data. And with hurricanes, there's always going to be secondary hazards. With Harvey, we saw flooding, electrocutions, and strangely enough, fire ants. Fire ants want to get out of the water just as much as you do, and sometimes we end up in the same place. There are numerous actions taken by stakeholders. Daily weather predictions and coordination was done through the State Operations Center. FEMA pre-positioned supplies and personnel working with state, local, and non-governmental organizations. This allowed for an efficient federal response. There's also a fast presidential disaster declaration allowing for the quick release of federal resources. Facebook and social media allowed for dissemination and communication of information with large groups of people very quickly. First responders also played a significant role. Pre-first responders are the people in the community who take action before emergency officials even show up on scene. And urban search and rescue was mobilized from all around the country. Looking at the effectiveness of the response, I would argue that the response was very effective. Hurricane Harvey had a death toll of 68 compared to Hurricane Sandy, which had a death toll of 147. Now, any number of deaths is unfortunate and sad, but looking at the large geographic area that Hurricane Harvey covered and the amount of damage inflicted, I would say that 68 is an impressively low number, in my opinion. The forecast was very accurate compared to actual data, and the Facebook page for Hurricane Harvey had over 121,000 members. Other than using social media, there was effective dissemination of information through traditional media and cell phone alerts. There were numerous takeaways, but the two that stood out to me is that it is possible and there is a growing ability to accurately forecast spatial patterns, especially with more data and emerging technologies. There's been recent improvements in satellite technology and remote sensing, which is greatly increasing our capability to forecast spatial patterns. We also know that better communication with the public is essential, especially the importance of staying connected with through social media, as seen with the large number of members of the Hurricane Harvey Facebook group. Hopefully, we can use the lessons learned from this disaster in having a more efficient response to future ones. And these are my references.